Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Respected judges and audiences, let me start with a simple question. What if something as simple as a blister could suddenly lead into an amputation? My name is Lorelai Azzahra Dharma, and today I present to you Pedicare Plus, a low-cost wearable innovation that may be able to prevent that reality from happening. Today I have 4 contents that I'm going to talk about. Starting from the very first one is the context and the problem foundations. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 3 main concerns regarding diabetes mellitus patients. Globally, there are 422 million patients that are facing severe complications, and 11% of them are having diabetic foot ulcers. But actually, that is the most preventable complications because 85% of diabetic foot-related amputations can be prevented through an early interventions. Now that is the keyword, ladies and gentlemen. Thus, the number of mortality and also the amputations rate throughout the globe is really varies. But what makes it really urgent for me to talk about this matter? Ladies and gentlemen, this is an illustration of how foot ulcers get worsened every time. But 60% of those cases are remain undetected until it reaches complicated severe end stages and also a poor outcomes. And that late-stage interventions resulting in increasing number of hospitalizations, amputations rates, and overall higher treatment expenses. This slide highlights the healthcare gap in Indonesia in 3 main aspects: accessibility, affordability, and early interventions. In the past, care mostly relied on manual examinations and hospital visits. Today, many patients, especially those who live in rural areas, still face limited access and also high costs without any continuous monitoring system. So that's why complications such as foot ulcers are often detected too late. But ladies and gentlemen, in the future, Pedicare Plus will address this gap by enabling an affordable, accessible, and real-time monitoring so that early detections can be accessible for everyone. Now that brings us into my findings of Pedicare Plus innovations. Starting from the very bottom of why. My mission is to make diabetic foot care accessible and proactive, since its core values are to prevent amputations, reduce the healthcare system burden through a preventive technology, as well as making Pedicare Plus as the standard platform for intelligent foot health monitoring system. And innovation surely will need a method. Pedicare Plus utilizes embedded biosensors technology, using the approach of continuous monitoring to seamless data transmissions into one mobile apps, because the expected outcomes are an accessible advanced technology that may be able to prevent diabetic foot amputation through an early interventions. It works by data collections through a multi-sensors that can detect pressure, temperature, and moisture, and that data will be sent by the advanced AI technology so that the system will be able to assess an early risk of infections. And now, all of this data will be shown in one mobile applications that can be accessed not only by the patients but as well as caregiver and healthcare workers. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an illustration of how the product is going to look like. Starting from the multi-sensors that can be placed in the areas that tend to be damp and also get a lot of pressure. And the device that will process all this data will be placed around the ankles. Now, all those will be sent by the AI technology using Bluetooth and the advanced AI technology into one mobile app that can show the real-time conditions of the patient's foot care situations. Now, ladies and gentlemen, but innovations is not the only thing that matters. What truly matters is how the innovations can be impacted and also how much impact it can bring in real life. And this is where Pedicare Plus becomes meaningful. Ladies and gentlemen, this slide outlines the market deployment strategy for Pedicare Plus within a year. In the first half, we are going to focus more on validations, starting from clinical trials, followed by a pilot implementations in selected clinics. And in the second half, we are going to expand more, starting from commercial launch and then scaling up by wider distribution and insurance integrations. Ladies and gentlemen, this phased approach ensures that Pedicare Plus is not only effective, but as well as feasible and sustainable for real-life implementations. Ladies and gentlemen, think of Pedicare Plus as a ripple effect. It begins with one patient, more control, more aware. That awareness supports better clinical decisions. Better clinical decisions leads to fewer complications, and fewer complications means there are fewer hospitalizations. And at the end of the day, it's not only saving one life, but it transforms the entire healthcare system. So, beyond innovation and its impact, Pedicare Plus is where this has become a shared responsibility, not just in theory, but in real outcomes, starting from the increasing number of early detection rates to decreasing the number of hospital admissions as well as amputation risk. Because Pedicare Plus creates changes that can be tracked, evaluated, and continuously improved. Because innovation is not only about the ideas, but about the result. It's that what matters. And ladies and gentlemen, Pedicare Plus is more than a device. It is a step toward shifting healthcare system from reactive treatment to proactive preventions. Because in the end, saving a foot means saving a life. Thank you.